And this thing records by default, doesn't it?
Yes, it's recording right now, actually. And I will make sure it's recording as well when we actually start broadcast.
Great.
I'm ready.
Did you join? Did you log in? Yeah. I'm gonna hit the rest of you. Walk
You're gonna be back here.
Yeah.
Now we can hear you.
Begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
I didn't hear you. My notes is running, so you may want to mute me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you mute yourself, Janelle, at all?
Yep. Maybe.
Matt, try to talk for me one more time.
Testing, testing.
Cool, just making sure when I hit mute, I wasn't killing all the audio. Okay, I'm gonna start the broadcast just so people can kind of roll in, and we'll just small talk until guests arrive.
Sounds great.
Cool, and I'll just kick off with announcements right at 11. Welcome, guys. For those that are joining us, we're going to give everyone just a few more minutes to make their ways to their computers, and then we'll kick it off. Looks like a few more people have joined us. Welcome, welcome. Okay, it's right at 11, so we're going to get started with just a couple of announcements. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you all are kind of making your ways to your computer, we're going to kick off with just talking through kind of the flow and what to expect with today's webinar. First, there will be a giveaway at the end. One person will win a Yeti thermos and the other person will win a $25 Amazon gift card. Just hang out with us for the 30 minutes of the webinar and find out who won, so that's exciting. Secondly, there is time saved at the end for questions. So if you want to write them down, you'll see there's a chat bar on that side, go to webinar control panel. Write your questions in there, shoot them out. They'll be first in line when we get to the question portion. Otherwise, feel free to just throw them in at the end when we open the floor to that. And let's look at here on, ooh, we're getting good. Almost everyone's here. So we can kind of get started. The one and only Rusty Holiday will be kicking off the information webinar. Rusty is a highly decorated 20+ year industry experience and a new addition to the DataVizion team. We are delighted to have him here with us today. Not only is he your go-to guy for latest technology updates and trends, oh, there's his handsome face. He's also hilarious. So Rusty, why don't you share with us about what you and Matt are going to talk about today?
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Absolutely glowing intro. I appreciate that. And thank you everyone for just making time to come hear about Aruba Central, which is something we're really excited to share with you. As Rebecca mentioned, I'm the CTO at DataVizion, focused on the customer user experience that we provide with solutions to say are from Aruba or other vendors there. So again, appreciate you making time to be here. We've also got more importantly going past it, the man, Mat Lehn. Matt has been at DataVizion for 8 years now, is a very highly educated and decorated Aruba engineer, understanding both mobility, ClearPass, the entire design suite, across their multiple architectures and products, and is also recently a certified cloud managed specialist. Also been in the Aruba Ambassador Program, which effectively gives us the opportunity to share your voice and your inspirations and concerns with Aruba as well. So having someone that decorated gets us a bit of attention there. So, but we're not here to talk about our resumes by any means. Really, what we want to share with you today is some pretty basic information about what Aruba Central is. Why does it really exist at all when we've already got this, working on-prem infrastructure? What are the advantages to deploying that from the cloud, and when does that make sense for your business? We'll talk a little bit about the market dynamics, which is basically, who's doing it, how many people are doing it, and what does that trend look like, and is it the right time to hop on board and make it something for your business? And then once we go through just kind of the level set of really what it is, Matt will take over and really start to show some interfaces and some of the very specific pieces that really make this a great platform. And then, as Rebecca mentioned, we'll do any questions that you may have about Aruba Central or DataVizion, and then of course reward you for spending time with us as best we can. So we'll just jump right into it. So Aruba Central, as I mentioned, is a native cloud platform that runs, that Aruba runs. You subscribe to it, and you can have your WAN devices, your switches, your access points, all pointed and managed from this. One of the shifts, if you're familiar with, say, a controller-based wireless architecture, is that rather than referring to a wireless controller now as a wireless controller, it really becomes a gateway appliance. It's got enough horsepower and ability to do, some firewall or filtering, and then also to do some routing and load balancing across your WAN circuits. So key there being that it's really easy to use. You've got the same interface across your entire suite of products. You can template and ship the hardware and have it effectively find home and configure itself, right? So just saving a bunch of time, a bunch of effort, and not going through really kind of those one-offs or redesigns at time of deployment. So what can you manage on there? We mentioned some of this. The Aruba Instant Access Points currently work with Central. All of the new Aruba access points are now under what they call a unified platform. So that encompasses that instant category as well, and anything new. Aruba switches. So whether it's your core, your edge, or even top of rack, you can still manage that from this Central. I mentioned the branch gateways. What you see there is the 9000 controller, and what that's doing is giving that SD branch, SD WAN capability, putting that at that gateway, and again being managed from the cloud. There's also user experience sensors which sit out as a client. They run tests against your infrastructure for basic services like DHCP, DNS. They check the RSSI, but they can also connect to internal services or external services to ensure those are operating well. And of course, the ClearPass device insights, which is an addition to ClearPass to give cloud-based, machine learned, and crowdsourced identification of devices on your network. So yeah, all that said, right, you know what it is and where it works, but you know, what does it solve in businesses today, right? So as we look at common challenges, you know, 6 in 10 really don't have on-staff networking expertise. But that doesn't mean that they can't open a box and deploy an access point or a switch. It just means that logging into it, dropping a configuration onto it, and understanding, you know, how does it need to connect can sometimes be challenging for organizations. So having a central managed platform, you know, gives you that drop ship ability and simplicity of deployment. It's frankly much more affordable. What we see is that you know, by not having to, you know, keep these on-prem services, you get an instant savings from not having to purchase those, and then, you know, the overall reliability. You know, you get the assurance, right? We talked about the user sensors and monitors, right? And so you can use data with the central platform in order to really confirm that everything is operating well. A lot of times in IT, we're notified when things go poorly, but nobody really stops by and says, yep, everything was all good again. And so having that information and data to use can help you to really identify where and when you know, you're having trouble and give you that assurance. We talked about some of the flexibility in the architecture, right? Nearly everything points to it. So you can design a number of ways and do just a little bit, or go, you know, all the way to central and deploy entire branches. A lot of people are looking for more visibility and control, and refer to it as a single pane of glass. Naturally, having everything up in central provides that. And you can also provide guest access, which is normally done through ClearPass in our traditional architecture, but is now available as an addition to central as well. And so for you to be able to meet these challenges, you know, it is modernizing your technology and your approach to using that technology. So, you know, we talked about saving time. You know, what we see is, you know, up to, you know, 68, 70% branch network costs are reduced by using this single architecture. Things come up faster. They're more fault tolerant and resistant. And as you do have, say, maybe a hardware failure, swapping something out in place is really easy. So that saves time, it reduces the travel and allows you to use, you know, the people who are there to, you know, plug things in, but still have visibility and control at a technical level. You talk about that visibility and control across the internet. What we're seeing many organizations do with you know, larger internet pipes and a more reliable internet over the last 10 years, we're seeing many organizations starting to drop and replace private circuits and MPLS circuits and going with you know, a multi-home internet approach. So using those WAN gateways gives you that opportunity to even reduce some of the service costs that you're incurring maybe from a communications provider. And that SD-WAN can make real-time path decisions based on, you know, health of the network, type of traffic, person doing it. And so you can get some pretty granular traffic control at that gateway. Last there, we can use the context of where a person is connecting from, the type of device, the device profiling, and things of that nature to start giving a much more granular approach to access. Most of the time in our personnel, that's pretty obvious. But what we're seeing a lot is that in IoT, there are a lot of things that maybe identify as an Android device, but maybe one is a, you know, a wall wart for a room and the other is a camera, right? And you don't need to provide the same thing there. So being able to provide that additional granularity and context allows you to supply roles that make more sense and contain threats. And so as we talk about the overall growth and adoption, what we're seeing is that, you know, year over year, more organizations are investing in these cloud strategies for centralizing and managing IT. naturally in the server world, there are significant considerations for moving your data, information, and services up to the cloud. But in these infrastructure pieces, what we find is that it's really helping to reduce spend, simplify deployment, and make your infrastructure much more repeatable. We're also seeing SMBs, really investing in this in order to drive growth. We talked about not having specific IT staff, and so being able to, again, kind of set it once, really decide on the direction and design, and then be able to grow it or scale it, using, say, 4 cloud SKUs, which are devices that can be shipped and automatically are added to your tenant. You can now, really speed up deployment and delivery of infrastructure as businesses are growing or changing. With that integrated security at the infrastructure level too, that makes a lot more sense for SMBs, where they're really looking for things to do more, as opposed to segmenting those different services into different boxes. And so in the end, right, Aruba Central can do a lot of things, but really just, how does it help, and why is it important to have this available to your business? We mentioned before, and we'll probably hear it a lot, right? It's really simple to provision these devices. The way that they're integrated into these systems, gives you the ability to see across multiple planes, say, switching WAN, wireless, and access control. It really gives you a comprehensive management, right? And when we say that, the thing to remember is that now that this data is flowing up into this cloud, we can start to use more modern ways to identify issues, say machine learning or crowdsourcing, in order to use that data and find issues more quickly. Whereas in an on-prem solution, right, that data is really up to you to go through. And so applying, say, AI or ML to that can be really tricky and very cost prohibitive. Lastly, as businesses are looking towards additional orchestration and automation, but more to the point, integration with everything that they have today, it's important to be able to do that in software using APIs. The entire Aruba line for Central is built on APIs. They have Swagger documentation to be able to go and interact with it, and giving you that ability to, either use Central completely or tie it into some of the existing systems that you may have. So that's really kind of it to Central. But what we'll do now is hand it over to Matt and really take a look at what it is, as opposed to, say, what it does for you.
Sounds great. Thanks, Rusty. All right, so just to kind of recap, again, my name is Mat Lehn. Appreciate everyone joining, and I just kind of wanted to talk about the high level a little bit here on this screen. It gives a nice depiction. So just a recap, it can manage your wired and wireless network. So from the Aruba OS side of switches are 2930s, 3810s. From the edge core side of things, you can get a full line of visibility through that. Branch gateways, which is going to be our SD-WAN side, and I'll expand on that a bit. But one thing that, if anyone is familiar with our solutions currently, we do have a controller-based solution. And so when we start talking about the Aruba Central side, moving towards the cloud, we start utilizing those unified access points, so the instant access points, which means that every access point that is shipped is either instant or it can be converted to a campus access point, where then that's controller based. So where that's very important to us is that with the cloud, it needs to run on the instance side. And also just to make sure that the Aruba Central is subscription based. So any of our switches or access points requires a device license. And then you'll see down here at the bottom for the value added services, where we can get more feature sets. So currently with one of our solutions, ClearPass Policy Manager, that has a web interface for a cloud captive portal. So just like if you go to a hotel or a coffee shop, we now have that baked into Aruba Central. So if you just purely were using ClearPass or we're interested in ClearPass just for that guest functionality and that branding, that's now built in. We then have presence analytics, which allows us to see traffic patterns. So for large public venues, enterprise environments, being able to understand, hey, did I just have a passerby versus a visitor versus, hey, I had an engaged user, get a lot of granular visibility into that. So you can really start narrowing in down on the user experience and, hey, how long, where are people going to, how long are they staying? And it can, so really where that plays a huge role, in my opinion, is the retail side. Get a lot of great features out of that. The Aruba Air Group piece is for what that does is that helps, especially from a school environment, working with Apple TVs or Chromecast or anything with MDNS or DLNA type traffic. The Aruba Air Group handles that type of traffic so that we can see that, be able to see that both on the wired or wireless, as well as, hey, if I'm a guest and my Apple TV is connected on the internal side or whatnot, we're able to very granularly allow certain access to be able to hey, I got a vendor coming in, I need a screen share, I don't want them to have full access to my network. Well, this Air Group really helps be able to share those services and help with that user experience of people coming into your network. The unified communications pieces, if you got Link or Skype for Business, or we're able to get more granular visibility into the QoS and how calls are doing, and with Central, all this is a single pane of glass. So, and I've got some great slides here coming up that'll kind of narrow into that piece. So from just keeping things simple, smart, and secure, Central is able to take a complete design and be able to put it in one place to manage that. And then as Rusty was mentioning, REST APIs. So really, if you are a retail, I've got 100 different locations, being able to simplify the configuration, the rollouts, the monitoring alerts, securing that access. So one thing I wanted to touch on is a term that you'll hear often when working with Aruba products is ZTP, Zero Touch Provisioning. So how do I go from placing an order to all the way to where I don't have to touch anything from that product standpoint to get it online and provisioned? Well, just kind of a high level cap of that is that once the order is placed, the product is automatically updated to a customer's Aruba Activate account. Now, Activate is separate from Aruba Central. It's another cloud platform, and it's free. It's a service that once you buy a piece of hardware, you're automatically entitled to Activate. And what that does is within Activate, it's kind of our gatekeeper of hey, am I going to change these unified access points, for instance, to a campus AP, or do I want it to communicate to Central? So once you plug in an access point, it's automatically going to communicate to Activate. And then based off of our provisioning rules, which I got a little picture here, so IAP to Central, I'd be basically saying that once that access point is connected, can reach out to the internet, it's going to talk to Activate, and here my provisioning rule is going to say, I need you to talk to Central. So that's kind of how we start linking things together. All of this can be automated. So, I mean, you don't have to go into Activate every single time and tell it where to go. We can create rules that even when a purchase is made, hey, I want you to automatically go to Central, or hey, I want you to automatically convert to a campus access point, and different areas there. So if we take that IAP to Central, what we would have inside of Aruba Central is we'd have predefined groups. Now the group is where we build our configuration. What SSIDs are being broadcasted? What VLAN is this going into? From a wired standpoint, you know, the whole switch configuration. And we're able to template this out. So if you have, you know, let's say 100 different locations, I can build a single group just from a global standpoint, put all of the access points into there. You could treat even each site, you know, hey, if I got a special occasion, I can treat something a little different without affecting all the other sites. But if you wanted to make a single change, you just apply it at that group level. It's then going to push down to every single site. So, hey, I got a new SSID I need to broadcast. Well, I don't have to now log into 100 different web interfaces to, you know, repeat that configuration standpoint. It's all done in one spot. The other nice thing about this is the ability to manage your firmware. So we have what's the firmware compliance. So as soon as this whole conversion happens, based off of the group, which I'd set a compliance level, I'm going to say, hey, I want you to be at a certain code version. And then go ahead and, you know, while that's doing an automatic reboot, or you could even schedule it. So from a maintenance standpoint of being able to manage your the SD-WAN side, to the switching, to the access points, this firmware compliance is a huge time saver. You know, I just love to schedule it later, do a midnight upgrade, and you know, hey, we're good to go. So if anybody is familiar with our product called Aruba Airwave, it's from an on-prem you know, controller-based solution. It's a product that can manage, monitor, and alert. Well, they took Airwave and they've now incorporated that into Aruba Central. So we have what's called sites and labels within Central, to where we can put the exact address of where these products are being you know, either shipped to or whatnot. And so then it's automatically going to place those on the map for us. So here, just from a high level standpoint, I'm able to see anything that's green. Hey, things are great. I've got 2 devices, no issues. But then anywhere, if you guys are able to see my mouse moving, for instance, the number 9 there at the United States, we've got a potential issue. So we're able to get a nice physical view of what's going on, how things are operating. And then this is also interactive. So if I were to click into that, it's going to narrow down, it's going to show me those 9 devices that got issues of, you know, hey, the SD-WAN link, or, you know, I've got high utilization, or from an access point standpoint, it's going to narrow down and tell me where it's, you know, having those problems. So, you know, from the simplicity of having everything in one spot, the visibility of just, you know, the wireless SD-WAN side, you're getting full visibility. So we're also able to get a lot more proactive health monitoring. We've got it's got alerting capabilities inside of the system as well. But from this view here, we're looking at directly at an access point. It's got a flag here with high memory, and then the 2.4 gigahertz airtime utilization is also high. So being able to, with Central, we're also be able to understand historical data as well. And it goes back 30 days of history. And so with our insights, it's going to point out the issue. It's going to tell us, you know, pretty black and white of what's, you know, what the problem is. And then, you know, how do we narrow down further into that? We have an open tool section here where we can do iPerf test, ping test, everything from the dashboard. So you're really able to drill down without having to log into that site directly. There's also a go live feature, which is going to give us more in-depth analysis of the RF and you know, how things are operating at that level. And as I mentioned, as far as being able to monitor the, you know, the wired and wireless side, we're able to get that end-to-end visibility. So from the airspace to the client, to the access point, to the switch that access point is connected to, and then maybe to where, you know, that switch is connected to, you know, a distribution switch or whatnot. It will then be able to identify, and it'll color code everything where a potential issue lies. But also with being able to narrow down into the client, you know, just from a, I'm easily able to see, hey, you know, this could be you know, it's a Mac computer connected on the wireless to what band, and you know, full line of health. So our transmit rates, so device health here is showing 100%. So just getting be able to get fully understanding the connectivity status and comprehensive tool sets to help troubleshoot if an issue were to come up. This part here is expanding on the services, as we mentioned with the guest Wi-Fi experience. So we're able to brand that guest captive portal page with your guys' logo. You have full control over customizing, you know, all the text, what that, you know, all the pictures. We can do social logins. So if you want to connect to Facebook or Google, you know, LinkedIn. Lots of capabilities of what we want that user experience to be like when they come through the door. So really branding to your company is going to help with that experience. And then a little more in depth on the presence analytics of being able to measure the traffic and being able to compare those metrics to help optimize that user experience. One added benefit that they've recently changed is Clarity used to be a service subscription. What Clarity is it will give us in-depth analysis of when a client connects, how well is my DHCP server responding, DNS, and so that's now integrated into the dashboard. So, you know, if something blows up, it's always, you know, it's always the wireless, it's always the network. Well, this is going to give us that in depth of no, it's, hey, I've got a DNS issue, or I've got a DHCP issue, and it's going to flag that for us. So very useful tool. The ClearPass Device Insight, this is a new product that was introduced little 6 months ago or so. And what the Device Insight does here is it gives us machine learning capabilities, and also we're able to monitor this through Aruba Central, but it can also then integrate with ClearPass, which ClearPass is another product that we have not you know, touched on this call, but it's our authentication server. So any devices connecting to the wired or wireless network, we can build a policy around that and to say what, you know, what access should it have to the network, hey, what VLAN, you know, managing access control list. And what this does is it helps with that visibility, with that machine learning. I'm able to understand devices better, you know, hey, down to the Android, to the Windows, to you know, really diving into, so it's not just more of a, it's not just a generic, hey, this is a you know, this is a phone. It's now we're able to really see what's connecting to your network and build policies around that. We do have a SD-WAN solution, and so what we use is we use those the 9000. So we have a 9004, the 7000 series, which then we can communicate to the VPNC. So for where we'd place like a 7200 series control, a little bit bigger of a box into your data center to establish data center connectivity. All of those products will be, can be placed into Central for that single pane of glass managed. So from a, whether you're a mom and pop shop to the enterprise, and being able to really work on the, best in class security of getting with, ClearPass and whatnot, really able to take that full portfolio that we have to offer to manage your entire network with this platform. We also integrate with Checkpoint, Palo Alto, and Zscaler. So a lot of we're a lot of third-party integrations as well for other products. This is just touching on our drop ship product SKUs as our ability with that ZTP, zero touch provisioning, this is a new SKU that we have now to where I no longer need to ship that hardware appliance to my office to then upgrade the firmware, put a base config and IP address to ship it out, right? Hey, we're now skipping that middle step. Let's purchase it, use this drop ship SKU, get it to where it needs to go. And then all we have to worry about is just getting a smart hands to unbox it, hey, plug it into the network, and from there, the backend process is going to take care of the rest. So I've been working with DataVizion just about 9 years now. And I've been 100% focused on the Aruba portfolio. I absolutely love it. It's a great product. It solves a lot of solutions. We're able to build great solutions around the product. We've got a lot of full-time Aruba engineers, and we're very dedicated into the process. So one thing that really separates, hey, why DataVizion? It's what we focus on. I've been involved with several international deployments down to universities to, you name it. The size, there's no job too big or small for us. We're able to scale. We're able to, we've got a very solid process in place from the helping you design it, the architecture side to design it, sell it, deploy it, and we support it. So we back that up with a full team of managed services. All of our projects are project managed, and we've got a rinse and repeat process that's been proven time and time and again. We've got a great team, and we're happy to take more time beyond this meeting to hey, let's see how Central can fit your business needs, and we thoroughly enjoy our job. So
Matt,
we'll go ahead and take
great demonstration there. Thank you very much. I think it really did help. Just to recap a little bit on it, what we're seeing for Central is that we're really taking a number of disparate products previously, right? A wireless controller, airwave network monitoring system, and moving that up into a managed service direct from Aruba. So in addition to just having fewer things to own and manage, what you also get now is in an IT lifecycle of continual updates because of the nature of the cloud. You're always, your investment into your infrastructure is going to grow and get better as more ideas are packed in and more maturity on these platforms is reached. So certainly cost savings in the deployment, simplicity, getting rid of a lot of those headaches, making scalability a non-issue because of the nature of the cloud. But again, also just really taking advantage of Aruba really managing a portion of your infrastructure now and always providing you best-in-class service. So At this point, we're certainly happy to answer any questions. Matt knows pretty much every detail of the platform, and I'm happy to answer any questions about how you may leverage the automation orchestration to build better user experiences for your users. Unless we just knocked it out of the park and there's no questions, then certainly Rebecca can go right to rewarding you for taking the time with us today.
Absolutely. And if anyone doesn't see it too, again, it's that chat column on the side of your GoToWebinar panel where you should be able to just type in any questions you have and hit submit. We'll give it a few more minutes in case any of you guys have anything to add in. However, I think Janelle and I have picked out the winners.
Need a drum roll?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rusty. We would like, so Brad, you will be winning the Yeti, and we will be in contact with you to get that to you. And we are looking at Chris as the winner of the $25 Amazon gift card. Congratulations, guys.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Perfect. It looks like we hit a home run then and don't have questions. Way to go, team. Absolutely.
Thanks,
Yeah, thank you guys for taking the time today. As always, there will be a follow-up email with a link to this presentation, just in case you or a coworker want to revisit any of the information or you want to share it with anyone if something of value was uncovered for you today. And we might have a question. Hang on. Maybe not. Yeah, everyone just says thanks. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for attending, and we will be in touch via email, and enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you.
Thanks.